Good day, my name is Mariana Pimentel and I'm going to present about European outsider artists. First of all, what is outsider art? Outsider art is also known as abroad and describes art such as graffiti or art which is made outside the academic tradition of fine art. An important characteristic of this art is the conscience of the artist is the key to create an authentic outsider art. But then, who are the outsider artists? Outsider artists are self-taught artists who are not part of the artistic establishment, people who work outside of these traditional norms, like prisoners, children, mental patients, and primitive artists. I'm going to talk about some European outsider artists. The first of them is Adolf Wuffli. He was born in Switzerland and he is considered one of the greatest exponent of this outsider art. He had a turbulent childhood. He suffered from constant physical and sexual abuse. He enlisted in the army. He was taken to a prison for attempted child abuse, and after these events, he was finally diagnosed with psychosis and he was transferred to a clinic where he developed his talent as an artist. Talking about his art, there are some characteristics in his work. One of them is horror vacui, this fear to empty spaces in his works. And he had musical value in his works. He reflected in his drawings musical composition. In his work we can see letters, bells, his initials, number series, and also figures like crosses, the triangles, circles, squares, spirals, and ovals. It's important to say that we can see two predominant themes in his work, the transformation and rebirth. Wolfe produced an impressive number of works through his life, often with the purest materials as pencil, color pencil, and graphite, as we can see in these two art pieces of him. Another artist is Aloise Corbas. She was born in Switzerland too, and she received a good education. She was educated in a traditional education, and he was educated drawing and singing. And this last one creating on her a desire to become an opera singer. She worked as a governess at the Kaiser's court and was here where she developed an obsessive crush to the Kaiser Wilhelm II. After this, Louise showed signs of mental collapse, and in 1918 she was diagnosed with schizophrenia. At this moment is when she's transferred where she begins to create, and she's transferred then to the psychiatric hospital Seri, and time later is transferred again, but now to La Rosière Asylum, the place where she is going to pass the rest of her life. Talking about her art, we can see in her work her passion for theater and opera represented in his work. We can see the representation of women and their hopeful admirers or lovers, often with multiple scenes of passion inside each work. We can see the power and the romance of a woman. This is the center of Alois Corbas' visual universe. She used to use some specific materials, primarily crayon and pencil, and sometimes she included spots of crushed flowers petals or occasionally mixed toothpaste in her works to create different things. We can see here in these two art pieces that sometimes she created large formats, and for these ones she stitches several sheets together with yarn to put it together. We can see that she used intense and vivid colors to create her work. And finally, we have here another artist, Augustin Lesage. He was born in France, and Augustin Lesage was a miner was a miner in France before he became a painter, before he became an artist. When he was 35 years old, he heard a voice that told him that he would become a painter one day. And when it was a year of his first experience, he was initiated into spiritualism and participated in session of this spiritualism thing. So he began to hear more and more constantly these voices, but this time the voices were giving him instruction. The voices inside his head used to tell him what to paint, what art supplies to buy, and even where to find them. He had the belief that the voice speaking to him was the voice of his little sister, who had died when she was only 3 years old. During his life, he was able to support himself with his artistic efforts and never stopped painting until until the deterioration of his vision forced him to do it, forced him to stop painting, and this was in 1952. Talking about his work, Lesage developed a unique style, a highly symmetrical style, painting detailed patterns and monolithic constructions reminiscent of Egyptian and Oriental architectural forms. And also, he used to use large canvases. Large canvases. He used to work with oil on canvas. His work is also categorized as part of the spiritualist movement in art. This because of the voices inside his head. And here we have two pictures, and the picture in the picture of the left we can see the size of the canvas. It's Augustin Lesage in his studio, and in the picture of the right we can see the symmetrical structure of his works. And that's all. These were three of the most important European outsider artists. Um, Here are the reference, and it's all. Thank you for the attention, and goodbye.